from Canes. I don't know if you've eaten Canes, but definitely go check it out. We always go down there when we go in the U.S.
What is this? Is this gravy?
I think the best color is actually white. This is the color we're going to use today. It's usually for excavation, so I think that'll show up the best on this ground here. Yeah, oh yeah, that works well. So let's do 8 foot on center.
So Front Rock Fences watches this channel. That might be a reference to those videos where we talk about, because the conversations in the chat can get heated.
It's in the winter.
There's so much interesting shit on YouTube.
It seems like when you're out building fence, you spend at least a third of your time, if it's public facing, speaking to the public, just about any randomness about building a fence. And everyone knows someone else who has built a fence before, and they would like to tell you how they built that fence.
Today's video is brought to you by our good friends over at Nationwide Industries, the Fence Pros' #1 choice. And they are this Fence Pros' #1 choice for a couple reasons. One, we love using their Keystone Traverse latches. They're easy to install. You simply bolt them onto the post. No drilling for rods or cutting the rods required. It's a pretty straightforward installation process. We also love using their full line of galvanized hardware. It shows up quickly and reliably.
All right, guys, today's video is titled Building a Fence in Extreme Cold Conditions from Front Rock Fences. If you watch the show, you've seen Front Rock Fences a lot in the comment section. When the video popped up, I thought, why not? Let's check it out. To watch this video in its entirety without my commentary, we'll link the video in the description below.
Hey guys, we're going to be building a fence in the most extreme conditions on the planet right now. We're at minus 55 degrees right now, Celsius. Watch how we do it. Follow us. Let's go.
And it was a cat's meow.
We're using the Postmaster Plus steel posts.
All right, so we're off to a good start. Postmaster Plus, which is the newer version of the Postmaster Post by Master Halco. A lot of people use them. A lot of people like them. We use them and like them. Great start.
These are the only posts in the market that carry any kind of warranty. They have a limited lifetime warranty. Your wood posts won't have any of that. These posts can withstand up to winds of 75 miles per hour. Or if you watch Mark Olson and his brothers in SWI, they've tested out winds of over 100 miles an hour.
SWI is a great channel. If you're into fencing related content, you should check them out.
These posts are also pounded in the ground, so we're going to have no mess, no dig, no concrete, and it's going to be beautiful. It'll look like it just grew out of the ground.
There's also no waiting. There's a lot of bigger companies will run 2 crews. They'll have a driving crew, and then a second build crew falls right behind the driving crew, kind of like a conveyor belt of fence. It is something to see, but he's absolutely right. No mess to clean up, no soil disturbed. It's a nice look.
But here, let's do a little test first. We have a cup of water from Canes. I don't know if you've eaten Canes, but definitely go check it out. We always go down there when we go in the U.S.
What is this? I'm not familiar with Canes. I mean, I've heard of them. I haven't eaten there. Is this gravy? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below.
See how quick this water freezes. We're going to just leave it there, and then we'll come back later to it.
Ooh, in there.
This ground is frozen. Okay.
I'm interested to see how tough it is to drive these posts, being that it's going through frozen ground.
Let's put our string line up. All right, so we use a string line every time we set up a line on our fence. You know, there's a string line gang, and there's guys that don't use string, but I like to use a string.
If you watch the channel, you've seen some other reaction videos we've done from folks that haven't used a string line or some device to help them line the post up. I believe they had to move a couple holes to line everything up. String line's a great idea. I know there are people out there that swear by sighting post in, and if you're one that can do it well, I'd say do it. As a way of that's easy to train and it's repeatable, crew on crew on crew. It's hard to beat a string.
Another topic we're going to get into is what color spray paint. A lot of people say you should use orange. It's fluorescent. You can see it on the ground.
We'll see where this goes. If you watch the channel, you know we've discussed this a lot. Orange is a color for telecommunications. White is the color designated for proposed excavation, so it's the color you're supposed to use. Now in his situation, it's obviously snowed there, so white might be a bit tricky.
So we're not going to be using red. Red is usually electricity, not blue. Blue is potable water. Orange is usually telecommunication, and then yellow is gas lines.
One thing I've seen people do too is they'll use pink because it's not one of those, but it is a boundary marking color, so surveyors obviously use it a lot. I think pink is probably just as dangerous to use to prevent misunderstandings on what the pink on the ground actually means.
I think the best color is actually white. This is the color we're going to use today. It's usually for excavation, so I think that'll show up the best on this ground here. Yeah, oh yeah, that works well. So let's do 8 foot on center. I think that showed up best. What do you guys think? Do you think I should have used it orange or white?
So Front Rock Fences watches the channel. That might be a reference to those videos where we talk about, because the conversations in the chat can get heated. Let me know, what color would you have used on snow-covered ground to mark out your holes?
All right, let's go check up on that cup of water. It's been about 5 minutes to see how it's doing. It's frozen. Look at that. It's completely frozen. Oh my God, let's go inside. It's too cold. All right, to pound these posts in, we're using a post pounder. It's a gas-powered one. We're gonna be switching over to the US hammer. It has 2 foot extension, so you won't see me jumping on the ladder anymore. And it also has an adapter for the Postmaster, so we're gonna use those. So everybody at US Hammer, if you're watching this, I can use a post pounder. I'll sponsor me. Let's go. So when pounding the post, always use head protection. You don't wanna lose your hearing, so definitely recommend this.
Yeah, one, the machine's pretty loud. 2, you've got that metal on metal hammering action. These things, you can hear it from several blocks away. You get right up on it, you absolutely have to have hearing protection. It'd be a good idea if you had some eye protection as well. I'm sure the safety squad will probably show up in the comment section talking about that he's off the ground, and OSHA says you should have fall protection and maybe some head cover. We'll see.
Hey guys, it's freezing out here. I have to take a little break. You see my cheeks are really red. But I just want to show you with these Postmaster posts that there is an up and a down. This is the down part right here. We can see there's a keyhole so that when it gets in the ground, it'll lock it in so it won't come back up. And then the top obviously doesn't have that. And you can see also here, there's no holes already marked into the post. So there's an up and there's a down.
We've had a few guys learn that lesson the hard way. Attention to detail is everything when building a fence, especially when you're trying to run a top rail, your top 2x4, and you don't have holes to attach it to. You get creative with a drill.
Just making a video. It's just just showing how we build our fence with these Postmaster posts. I don't know if you've seen these before. Yeah, this is a post pounder, so we pound it into the ground, and then we put our 2x4 rails on it, and then pickets on top. So these ones won't rust at all. They have a limited lifetime warranty on them. It's an amazing fence, and showing that we can still build fence in the winter.
There's so much interesting shit on YouTube.
It seems like when you're out building fence, you spend at least a third of your time, if it's public facing, speaking to the public, just about any randomness about building a fence. And everyone knows someone else who has built a fence before, and they would like to tell you how they built that fence.
So I know you guys might think these posts are ugly. These things will never hold. And you can see there is some flex with them. But if you notice skyscrapers, when they're in the sky and the wind is coming in, they sway side to side, but they always stay solid. With the wood post, it's solid, and then once the wind gives, it's gonna snap it off.
That is the negative thing you hear people talk about out there, is just there is movement. The way they're explaining it here is exactly how the manufacturer explains. They're meant to bend, not break. There is more strength in bending. If they were to make them incredibly rigid, then it would affect the overall integrity of the fence. Makes sense to me.
All right, we're back, guys. Fence is built, and now we're gonna stain it with Expert Stain and Seal. It's an oil-based stain, penetrates deep into the wood. It's never gonna crack. It's never gonna peel. It won't do any of that on you.
So let's pause right here and talk about how long you need to wait to stain a fence. This is a conversation that comes up in the comment section when we're talking about stain. There's a lot of, I don't know, old knowledge around, or maybe just old ways of doing things, in that a lot of people will say, well, you need to wait 6 months to a year to stain a fence. With cedar materials, and I'm assuming this is cedar, it certainly looks like cedar, and he's staining it on day one, so I would assume it's cedar. It naturally comes to you fairly dry. Now, there are exclusions to this. Some people would buy directly from the mill, so it's still wet when it goes up. Typically, even if it's wet going up, depending on time of year and rainfall, etc., they're typically ready to go fairly quickly, within a month, maybe 2 if it's a really wet season. $30 moisture meter from any online store, stick the prongs into the board, and it will let you know the moisture content. Typically, anything under 15%, you're good to go.
So if you come with me, first thing you want to do is just buy one of these cheap moisture meters.
There you go.
I'm going to check out the moisture content in the wood. So there's little 2 prongs on there. What you want to do is just put them into the wood, and you're going to check the content is 15% right now, 14%. So you just want to kind of go around the fence and check the wood, see what the moisture content is for that. And then if it's under 15, we're usually good to go. So what we usually recommend is 15% or below. So we're going to stain this now with the Chestnut Expert Stain and Seal. Come on. All right, so we're gonna use this chestnut oil, Expert Stain and Seal. You always wanna mix it to get everything out of the bottom, so everything kind of settles down on the bottom.
So the stain he's using is an oil-based penetrating stain and sealant, all in one. It's not like a two-part, you have to mix them up or whatever. Stirring's absolutely a good idea. Sometimes that pigment settles. Nice thing about it being a penetrating oil-based stain is that oil is going to naturally repel water, any moisture in general. It also looks great. This chestnut color, we use this stain. We use this color a lot. We bring it in by the pallet of drums at a time. It is a great color. It's a great stain.
All right, we're just gonna be staining it with a big deck brush. If you guys are interested in getting a brush like this, I know Fence Armor has it, and I can link a video to this below, so definitely gets it on nice and thick.
You do want to apply it really thick. The manufacturer recommends a flood coating. Brushing it is probably the best way, albeit maybe the slowest way, but make sure you get in all the nooks and crannies. You know, I've seen guys put this on just with pump up sprayers. Now you need to make sure you've got a good idea for your overspray, which is probably why he defaulted to the brush here. There's a lot of nice stuff around this place that could get stained on, it looks like. But if you are in a tight situation, brushing works great.
So the good thing with this stain too is that you can literally apply a bunch of it. It's gonna self-level, penetrate deep into the wood, which is nice. So it's so easy. Even a 5-year-old can do it, eh, bud?
The demonstration he was probably mimicking is at the training for Expert Professional Wood Care Products. They'll write someone's name on the fence. Actually, we've got a video here on the channel where he had written someone's name, Dan, I think, and then he covered it, he let it dry, then he went and stained over it. You couldn't see the name because it is a penetrating sealant. It's also self-leveling. The point being made here is you don't have to worry about lap marks. So with some stains, you have to be very careful about which direction you stain and make sure you do it all at the same time, and then only do a section, then come back maybe for a second coat. The Expert line of fence stain self-levels, you can do the whole fence and you can come back if you need to and touch up a spot or two. Since you flood coat and self-leveling, typically you don't have to.
All right, and that does it for the fence. So you can see it's stained with Expert Stain and Seal, oil-based stain. It's a -10 Celsius, so you can use this stain any time of the year. And yeah, and it looks beautiful. When it dries, it'll really pop. So if you guys are interested in this product, definitely reach out to Expert Stain and Seal. Or
that's another great point is water-based stains typically have a temperature range, where an acceptable range where you can apply it. Whereas with oil-based stain, really it comes down to personal preference on how cold you're willing to go stain a fence in. It's more of a year-round stain. You can really apply it. Obviously, as they're doing a good job showing here, you can even stain a fence in the middle of winter. Well, guys, let me know what you think of the fence. I think they did a great job. It stained really well. Let me know what you think and what, if anything, that you would do differently. For now, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors, and I'll catch you next time.